Hey bros, leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Alright.
What's going on? I have not made a video in a long time, and maybe I'm gonna start telling some story times on the channel. I don't know. You let me know what you think. So I'm gonna tell you guys about the time I almost got stranded in Wyoming. It was kind of nerve-wracking because there's this dealership I work at. Cars go out, like when he runs out of cars, he has to go to auctions and pick up new cars. So he has me and two other people go and pick up these cars from the auctions and drive them back for 20 to 40 an hour. It really depends on how he's feeling that day. But after I did one of these, he ended up telling me, he's like, hey, you did a good job. Do you want to help me out with something? I said, sure. What's that? He said, do you want to go pick up this RV and bring it back from Wyoming? I said, sure, but how am I going to get there? He said, I'll fly you out. This family that was renting the RV for a family trip, it ended up breaking down on them, and he had to go get it fixed by a mechanic, and I believe it was a fuel pump. My bad if you guys can hear my dogs snorting. This is one of them. She's kind of stupid. Her name's Chloe. She's gonna chill with me for a little bit. What I ended up doing was getting flown out on Delta to go to Salt Lake City, Utah. And once I got to Utah, I ended up doing a layover. I ended up flying to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So I get to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and there's immediately no taxi. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Then these three taxis pull up, but they're not normal taxis. They're blacked out 5% Suburban. They were so tough. The ride, an 11-minute ride, ended up costing me $40, but I wasn't really too mad because I didn't end up paying for it. That all got added on to the end for how much I got paid. Like, he paid for the gas, all that type of stuff. I pick up the RV from a mechanic. I end up getting maybe 30 minutes out. I'm just past Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm still like right in the mountains. It just snowed, so I'm kind of shook. So if you're confused why the fuck I'm in Wyoming, first off, I took a double plane out here. So I stopped in Salt Lake City, and then I flew to Jackson Hole, and now I picked up an RV. Jackson Hole's hard as fuck. Harrison Ford lives here, the dude from Star Wars. Kanye came out here. That's where he did, like, his album release shit. But yeah, it's a fancy ass town. All the taxis are blacked out, 5% tint Suburbans. That shit's hard. But I'm bringing an RV home for this dealership. Dude's about to pay me good dollar, so I'm not too worried. I'm getting $25 an hour for this shit, and it's about to be like a 25-hour trip. And this shit's kind of dope, not gonna lie. I'm doing maybe about 45 because the RV is still warming up, and it's not really doing anything over that. It's barely going 75. Chloe. No, sorry, my dogs are fighting. Hey, the check engine light comes on. And this is where I'm like, damn, I'm only what, maybe 20, 30 miles into this trip, and the check engine light comes on. I'm like, how many more miles do I have? It says 1,200 more miles till your destination. So I'm like, damn, okay. This thing needs to at least get me to Minnesota so I can at least have somebody maybe come pick me up if the RV breaks down. I'm on the road for a long time. This is where I'm starting to get shook because it's pitch black out. It's about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. This is when everything starts closing down. My gas is very low. It's on about a quarter. My phone is about to die. It's at 5%. I did bring a charger, but none of the RV outlets worked for whatever reason. I looked at my phone, and I put in my directions to the nearest gas station. That was 24 hours because I had to pay. It said 210 miles or something like that. So I was pretty shook, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? I'm at 4%. I don't know where to go. So I looked, I'm like, where's my next turn? It said 110 miles or something like that till your next turn. So I shut off my phone. I looked at the odometer, and I would wait for it to go up 110 miles or about 108. So once the odometer got up 108 more miles till about 2 miles till my exit, I'd turn on my phone and I'd look where I need to turn. And then I'd do the same thing. I'd look how many more miles, and I ended up getting myself to a gas station. And now at this gas station, I met a man. I asked, hey, would you be able to help me charge my phone? And I'm on a road trip. I don't know where to go. He's like, sure, you can plug it in however long you need. Update. I was at 4% on my phone for about 200 miles of my drive. So I would open maps on my phone. I'd figure out how many more miles I have till my next exit. Like if it said 34. And then I'd use the dash to figure out how many miles I've driven. So once I got close to that mileage amount, I'd turn my phone back on. I'd reopen maps and see where I need to go. But just in case, I have an actual map now. I talked to some guy at the gas station. He charged up my phone. He gave me a map. But then I figured out that this thing has one of these bad boys. So we're back in business. And the worst part about it was that half the time my maps wouldn't even load, and I was stuck in the mountains. So I had 4% on my phone. I had 1X, no LTE, no 3G. I was stuck on 1X, no fucking clue to where to go. But I got that shit done though, don't knock. So I took about a 30-minute nap, and when I was getting out of the RV, I noticed there was an adapter, one of those car adapters for a charger. So I gave it a test. I went inside, I bought a charger. It ended up working. So I got my phone charged up. You know, keep in mind, this RV has no aux. So for 19 hours straight that I am driving, I have no music. $40 just got me from halfway to slightly full. That's so ridiculous. That's why I do not drive RVs. And then after the gas station, there was about a 150-mile stretch where it's just, it's a 2-lane highway. So you're going this way and another car is coming at you this way. So technically 1-lane highway. There's no place to pull over, nothing. So I'm starting to swerve a little bit because I'm so tired and I just need to get to the next town where I can sleep, and a cop gets behind me. So this is where I'm like, damn, what am I gonna do? I'm swerving. I'm in this RV. I don't need a ticket because then I just did this trip for no reason. I'm gonna lose all that money I just made. He's just following me for about 20 miles because he obviously has nowhere else to go but the next town. So I'm like, damn, okay. So I don't know what I do. I take one of my medicine and I dumped water on my face just to wake myself up just for a little bit. So I ended up making it to the next town, and this is where I ended up sleeping for about 20 to 30 minutes. I took a little power nap and I was good. I hopped back on the road. I got into an interstate. Officially in South Dakota, and the sun is starting to come up. I cannot wait to see this view. It's been years. Honestly, the last time I went was probably, I'd say 5, 6, 7 years ago. It wasn't really an interstate. I guess you could say it was more of a highway, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the technical term. And I ended up following that for about 200 miles. And then that's where I got to this gas station. And this was right before the main highway that's going to take me all the way home. So I'm like, damn, I'm almost home. I'm almost home. I look on my maps when I get on the highway. It says you have 640 miles left. I was like, damn, that shit's ass. So I looked how long it's going to take if I do about 80 miles an hour, which was the speed limit. And the RV maxed out at 90. So I had it about 80, 85 the whole way. All right, so I'm currently in Wyoming still. It's about 8 hours into the trip maybe. I'm filling up for the 3rd time, and I just woke up from like a 30-minute nap, so, you know, that's what's going on. It ended up taking me about 12 more hours from that spot, that location, just to get home. 540 miles, that's going to be my exit where I get home. Nah, it just said stay on the same interstate. And I had to do that for about 330 more miles, and that shit was ass. One interstate took me about 800 miles in total, and I was just damned. And I ended up getting back to Minnesota. I was so tired. You know, I was able to drive, but you could tell I was exhausted. I felt wide awake, but I was exhausted, if that makes sense. So I got home, I texted the guy, I dropped the RV, I dropped the keys in your mailbox. He gave me the money, we were good to go. I got paid $750 for the trip, for a day trip. I ended up making about 35. If you do the math, it's about 30 to 35 an hour. You know, I wasn't too mad about it. It was a pretty good trip. You know, I was in my thoughts the whole time. I didn't really listen to music, and it was okay. I mean, would I do it again? Probably. Because it wasn't bad. That's my story about how I almost got stranded in the mountains. I had low gas. My phone was about to die. I didn't know where I was. My RV check engine light came on. It was all bad. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. I have some more stories coming for you. These ones are going to be more life stories, more personal ones, more, you know, kind of some more crazy stories. This one was more of just like a little life event, I guess. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you in the next video. Peace out.